Donald Trump gave his most watched speech ever at the 2016 Republican convention, his acceptance speech. How did he do? Here's the thing that some of you might find striking. Donald Trump actually has a lot more in common with Al Gore and Hillary Clinton in his speaking style than he does with Ronald Reagan. What do I mean by that? I mean, he yells. He's in the upper registers, the upper volume of his speech most of the time. Famously, Al Gore in 2000 spoke like that. There's pluses and minuses to speaking loudly. Ronald Reagan, on the other hand, might occasionally raise his voice and then soften it with a whisper. He used a much more variation in his tone, a lot more variety in his tone, Ronald Reagan. Reagan really prided himself in speaking in a conversational tone. His theory was that in the era of TV, when you're in people's living rooms, it's an intimate environment, you shouldn't be yelling. And that's one reason why Reagan came across as genial, likable, and was able to have mass crossover appeal to independents and Democrats. Al Gore, and by the way, Al Gore has since changed his speaking style after Inconvenient Truth, the movie where he was seen speaking in a conversational tone. But Al Gore had this way of yelling. Hillary Clinton in 2008, when she ran for the presidency, for the most part, when she spoke like this, yelling. Now, again, there's pluses and minuses to yelling. When you yell, people who already like you, already agree with you, sometimes like it because they feel like, wow, this person is really passionate about how I feel. The problem with yelling is it creates a sort of monotone, and it can be highly irritating to people who are casually listening to you but aren't necessarily sold on you yet. It's kind of like if someone hits you in the shoulder once gently, doesn't hurt, but if someone keeps doing that for several minutes, all of a sudden your shoulder, your arm is really going to hurt. And that's the problem with yelling. It's too consistent. Now, Hillary Clinton, for the most part, has stopped doing that, although she occasionally, in front of larger audiences, will lapse back into this yelling. Here's the problem, and it affects politicians of both parties, obviously. When you're in front of a really large audience, and you see some people who are half a mile away, emotionally you think, wow, they can't hear me unless I project. Well, you've got a microphone and speakers, so you don't have to. So that's what happens to people, especially at large conventions. Even experienced speakers like Rudy Giuliani. They get hyped up, the excitement of the moment, the crowd is so large, it's such a big commanding area, they feel they have to yell in order to show passion. Well, as the great Ronald Reagan showed, no, you don't. Sometimes the best way to show passion is to whisper. By the way, Bill Clinton is a master at this too. Not being partisan here, folks. Ronald Reagan, Bill Clinton, different politics, amazing similarities in the way they use their voice. Full range, soft, occasionally loud, pauses, loud, soft, constant variation. Donald Trump, Al Gore when he ran in 2000, Hillary Clinton in 2008, they yelled. Generally not the most effective way of speaking.